Today I'd like to update you on several aspects within the ministry. The first being the FBE exit exams, which were held April 12th to 15th. Saw 531 students sitting that exam. Children who were unable to sit it during that period because of illness or other valid reasons did the resit a week later. The overall nationwide average of all 4 subjects is 58%, which is up from 2015, which was 55%. The nationwide average for general knowledge is 57%. 2015 was 51%. The nationwide average for mathematics, 62%. Last year was 55%. The nationwide average for English is 72%, with the best performance per subject, and last year was 67%. Dutch average, however, is this year 43%, while last year it was 46%. So in general, the scores improved compared to last year, except for the scores on the Dutch exam. On May 22nd, schools were provided with the various reports. The students with the highest overall scores and students with the highest scores per subject will be awarded by the minister, by my person. So on June 25th, there will be an award ceremony for these students. Together with their parents, of course, school teachers, managers, they will be receiving their rewards. As ongoing for years, actually, we've been looking at the quality of education, but of course, lately, with all the last grievances and complaints coming from various levels within the community, including teachers, including parents, the ministry has been working at improving its responsibilities in terms of quality inspections. As such, a proposed framework of quality inspections in education has been presented to me by the Inspection Department Division. It is the building on the foundation laid in the times of the Netherlands Antilles for quality care in education. The philosophy is that quality care in education is dependent on structured cooperation between government and schools, and the monitoring part is built on 2 pillars. 1, internal self-evaluation by schools, and 2, external monitoring executed by the Inspectorate of Education. Under the internal self-evaluation, which we expect schools to carry out, will be that the schools evaluate their own performance. This would, of course, be the responsibility of the school boards and the school managers. They would have to make and execute action plans to improve weak areas and safeguard strong areas. It is not a new fact, before going into the external monitoring, that every year after these exams and after regular inspections which have taken place over the past years, the school boards, the school managers do get feedback from the government in terms of what needs improvement, etc. However, we would like to step that up. And as such, on the external monitoring executed by the Inspectorate of Education, 3 points will be highlighted: monitoring and enforcing the abidance to laws, monitoring the quality of education, and stimulating a higher performance. The external monitoring will be further established by law in 2016-17 through an ordinance on educational monitoring. This law will refer to the new framework consisting of 7 inspection cards. 1, output; 2, educational process; 3, quality of teaching; 4, student care; 5, quality care; 6, compliance with the laws; and lastly, management. So all these 7 aspects will be part of the inspection cards. Each card has several performance indicators which will be checked. Schools can be scored either poor, insufficient, sufficient, or good on these performance indicators, resulting in a final score per inspection card. There are similar but separate sets for both primary and secondary education. Currently, the framework with the 7 inspection cards and performance indicators are being discussed within the stakeholders in the educational field. Discussions within the ministry and with the school boards have already taken place. There will be a workshop on June 14th with the school managers, and on June 22nd, That one is with primary education, and on June 22nd with the school managers in secondary education. After that, of course, more consultation rounds will be planned, also with the care personnel, the coordinators, and the teachers. This is to ensure that all who are involved in the process of education are aware of what is expected. Many times we have heard questions from teachers, yes, inspectors coming to my classroom, but what are they coming to inspect? So then everyone will know. It will be totally open door, open cards policy in the sense that we are coming to inspect the quality, and the teachers will know exactly what they will be judged on. As before, the consultations will continue after the inspections with the school managers, etc. But then an action plan would have to come out of that if something is noted that needs improvement. This framework will be piloted in all schools, and I say here subsidized, but that includes subsidized schools and public schools. So all schools which government fund, this will start as of this next school year, so 2016-17. The method will be a desk research by the head inspectors. School development plans will be perused as usual, so these will have to be up to date. The annual reports, exam results, school guide, and all other data that the inspectorate receives from the school. School visits will be for 2.5 weeks, depending on the school size, so then the observations will take place. Lesson observations of all teachers, interviews with managers, teachers, care personnel, students, the board, and if possible, parents. Surveys, spot checks, review of, for example, the exams, the tests, the curriculum, and student satisfaction will also take place. These are more recent developments and which are very much needed to be able to get to the involvement of all involved. 4 weeks after the school visit, a draft report will be sent to the board and management. Overall view of good areas, weaker areas, and the scores per card, as well as recommendations, will be discussed with the board and management. Factual mistakes will be corrected, and schools can attach their opinion to the report if they differ in opinion. The final report will be then sent to the board, management, and the minister. If improvements are deemed necessary, the school will get 3 months to devise an improvement plan. This will be discussed and needs to be approved by the inspectorate. Deadlines for completion of this improvement plan will be set. So, future activities. 7 inspection cards for the ASVE will be developed into 16-17. So those are being processed. Inspections will continue to be done in depth, nevertheless, and it will just be made uniform along with the secondary and primary education. Monitoring system for unsubsidized private schools will be developed in 2017. Facility inspections, the process of joint inspections with the Ministry of Romi and VSA, as well as the Fire Department, will be described in the 2016 and 17. A monitoring tool for the performance of school boards will also be developed in 2017-18. These are future activities of the inspectorate, and this is to inform the general public that the ministry is actively seeking to do its part in its responsibility for the quality of education. The ministry, from the Department of Education side, is also working on legislation regarding the remuneration of staff working in the educational sector, as well as the higher and tertiary education laws. We are required to put all necessary legislation in place to regulate the educational system on St. Martin. This is to ensure that the quality of education is secured. So far for this year, 2 important steps have already been taken to put legislation in place. The decree on remuneration of the staff working in education has been approved by the Council of Ministers and signed by the Governor on May 6, 2016. This decree codifies the existing policy that has been applied by the school since 2007 and makes it formal by law. It ensures that all staff members working in the educational sector will have the right to equal pay and according to the scale of their function stipulated in the function book for educational personnel. The salary scales of all educational personnel are similar to those that of civil servants, and this decree is to be published in the National Gazette. The start notice for the National Ordinance on Higher and Tertiary Education was also approved by the Council of Ministers, which leads to the starting of the process of drafting the National Ordinance on Higher Education for St. Martin, which has been missing for quite some time. This has government's priority, and with the cooperation of legal affairs, we will be taking the steps to move this legislation forward. Of course, we know it takes a long time, but we will do our utmost to get this done in the shortest possible time so that it can be sent on to the several stakeholders for consultation and research before being sent to the Council of Advice and the Council of Ministers for approval.
The St. Martin flag is one of the youngest flags in the world. Since its conception, slight alteration, selection and approval by the Island Council in 1985, the St. Martin flag has been given its right place in the island's history. Younger yet is the official date of June 13th, being officially designated as Flag Day. Flags are national symbols belonging to a group of people, and the national flag of St. Martin is a symbol of honor and pride for all St. Martiners. This flag must be treated with full respect. The correct manner in which the flag must be used or displayed is governed by the Flag Ordinance of St. Martin, St. Martin Flag Regulation. Etiquette outlined for the government are in no way mandatory for individuals or organizations, but simply serves as guidelines for all persons who may wish to display the St. Martin flag. What makes the flag of St. Martin so special is that a grassroots approach was used in designing the flag. By means of a competition, a wide cross-section of the community was engaged to participate. Most rewarding is the chosen design had been submitted by a 17-year-old. Out of approximately 115 entries, Roselle Richardson's rendition was chosen, and 2 years later, her design was proclaimed the national flag of St. Martin. In giving a proper identity to the flag at its inauguration, Island Councilman Dr. A.C. Watty pointed out that the flag identifies what the island of St. Martin and its people stand for. The white is for peace and friendliness, something that St. Martin has been well known for already many years through its slogan, the Friendly Island. The blue is for the environment, such as the skies, the beaches, and the seas, while the red is for solidarity and courage.
There are a few items that I wanted to raise with you today. Firstly, last week, I briefly mentioned that it was the start of the hurricane season that started on June 1st. And I want to let the public know that the United States National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, the NOAA, Climate Prediction Center, says that there is a 70% likelihood of 10 to 16 named storms, making it most likely a near normal hurricane season this year. 4 to 8 of these storms could become hurricanes, including 1 to 4 major hurricanes of category 3, 4, or 5, with wind speeds of 111 miles per hour or even higher. So I'm taking this opportunity to remind the St. Martin public to make the necessary preparations for the hurricane season. Advance planning by making sure hurricane shutters and windows can close properly. Checking your roof means that you have less to do when the hurricane is knocking at your door. We do hope that this will not be the case. Therefore, we need to be prepared. One of the other things that people need to do is to trim trees around your property and get rid of unnecessary loose items in and around your yard that could become a hazard to your own home, but also that of your neighbors. Use your time wisely and therefore get prepared. The season has already seen the formation of a third storm system that carried the name Colin. A busy season has been forecasted, and that means everybody has to do their part in ensuring that St. Martin is prepared. The 2016 hurricane season, just like every season actually, runs through November 30th of this and every year. Last week, you can recall I mentioned or reminded people that in 1995, we've had about 2 to 3 false alarms, so to speak, and people felt no big deal. It will be another false alarm, and it was not. It became the largest hurricane to hit St. Martin in many, many years. And we don't know what this season holds. We don't know what the future will bring. But we do know that we live in a hurricane zone and that the hurricane season has begun. So it makes absolutely no sense. We plan and we prepare for Carnival. We plan and we prepare for Christmas. We plan and we prepare for vacation. But the hurricane season, just like we refuse to plan and prepare for death, we refuse, some of us, to plan and prepare for a hurricane. We are not saying that a hurricane will come this year, just like we can't guarantee death will come knocking this week, next week, or next year, but it will come. And the hurricane season is upon us. And it is incumbent that we do prepare ourselves and prepare properly. It is always better be safe than to be sorry. This morning, I had an early meeting, and the person I was speaking to had zinc in their yard on the property. And I looked at it and I said, you see here another sign of lack of preparedness, because God forbid a hurricane strikes and you don't get out in time to secure it, because then people go looking for batteries, they go looking for water, they go looking for this, that, and the other, and you do not have sufficient time by the time you leave your job to go and get these things, to come home now and make sure that the hinges on the windows are working properly, that loose items around the house are properly secured or removed, and then we have damage that is caused by loose debris that starts flying all over the place. One of the other issues that I wanted to discuss today was the campaign by the Kingdom government, by the Dutch government, to secure one of the seats on the UN Security Council. The United Nations Security Council is by far the most powerful of the United Nations bodies and is considered to be a unique instrument in the international politics as a whole. The UN Charter designates world peace and international security as the primary responsibility of the Council and bestows upon the Council far-reaching powers for the administration of this responsibility. The Security Council consists of 15 member states of the UN. Of these 15, the USA, France, Russia, the United Kingdom, and the People's Republic of China are permanent members. The 10 non-permanent members are elected by the General Assembly for 2-year terms and may not serve 2 consecutive terms. Since 5 non-permanent member seats are up for election every year, the composition of the council changes annually. The geographic distribution of seats is broken down as follows: 3 seats for African states, 2 seats for Asian states, 2 for Latin America and Caribbean, 1 Eastern European, and 2 Western European are all other states. A country must obtain votes from 2/3 of the member states present and voting at the General Assembly session in order to secure a seat in the council, regardless of whether the election is contested. A minimum of 129 votes are required to win a seat if all 193 UN member states vote. The Kingdom of the Netherlands submitted its candidature for a non-permanent seat in the UN Security Council for the term 2017 to 2018, which means it will be competing against Sweden and Italy for the Western European and other seats for the 74th session of the UN General Assembly on October 31st of this year. But the actual election will take place on June 28, 2016 in New York City at the UN headquarters. From the onset of 2014, the Kingdom of the Netherlands launched its campaign for the UN security seat. Its main theme for the campaign is Kingdom of the Netherlands, your partner for peace, justice, and development. The campaign places a strong emphasis on the composition of the kingdom, highlighting that it is one kingdom consisting of 4 countries, of which 1 is European and the 3 other Caribbean. The campaign brochure states, "The Kingdom of the Netherlands is ready to serve as your partner on the UN Security Council. We are deeply committed to promoting peace, justice, and development in the world, and believe we have valuable skills and experience to offer in that regard. Our presence in both Europe and the Caribbean brings a fresh perspective to the Security Council." So this is not what I am saying, this is what the brochure says. Furthering the kingdom approach to the campaign, the then Minister of Foreign Affairs for the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Minister Timmermans, discussed the Kingdom of the Netherlands candidature for the UN security seat in the last Koninkrijk Overleg Buitenlandse Betrekkingen, the KOBB meeting. The minister stressed the importance of a joint approach for the candidature of the UN security seat, non-permanent seat. He also indicated that if the Kingdom of the Netherlands wins the non-permanent seat, it would mean Aruba, Curacao, and St. Martin will also be represented in the UN Security Council. Asked for the cooperation of the Prime Minister of Aruba, Curacao, and St. Martin to head Kingdom delegations and conduct lobby work for the Kingdom. It is clear that the Caribbean countries' participation in the campaign is very critical. Why? It shows the diversity of the Kingdom being part of European and Caribbean and plays into the campaign message of one kingdom, 4 countries. It sends a message to the international community that there is unified domestic political commitment to the campaign among the countries in the Kingdom. It reaches broader audience outside of traditional diplomatic networks, emphasizing the Prime Minister's personal connection with other leaders in the region. One would say, what are the benefits for St. Martin's participation in the Netherlands UN Security Council's campaign? Advantages that can be derived from St. Martin's participation in this campaign is one, that it enhances St. Martin's public diplomacy, St. Martin's participation by means of lobbying, heading delegations, participating in campaign events, and featuring in campaign material gives the government the opportunity to showcase St. Martin and it being part of the kingdom. It was interesting that, it was an interesting moment that for the conference in Cuba, for the summit in Cuba, we had a moment where the 4 prime ministers of the kingdom were not only present at the dinner hosted by the Cuban government, but that they actually got together and had a photo. I think that photo was shared with the media in St. Martin while we were away. Some weeks ago, we launched the Department of Communication. They launched, in collaboration with the University of St. Martin, the lecture series, The Law Matters to You. Well, we are getting ready to launch, or not to launch, to have actually the second lecture. The Department of Communication, in conjunction with the University of St. Martin, they have begun their plans to organize the second in a series of lectures entitled The Law Matters to You. This time, the focus will be on civil law. The lecture series is aimed at informing and educating the general public of St. Martin in different areas of the law. For this second event, the keynote speaker will be Mistress Meredith Buchhout, civil law notary, who will speak on civil law, specifically in the areas of inheritance, estate, and family law. This event is scheduled again at the University of St. Martin and will be held on Tuesday, July 5th, 2016, and starts at 7 p.m. sharp, and it will be in the room 202. Mrs. Meredith Buchhout will deliver her presentation for about 15 to 20 minutes, followed by a question and answer period. I am calling on everyone and would like to encourage the general public to attend this lecture and take advantage of the opportunity to learn about these specific areas of civil law on St. Martin and ask questions to gain clarity.